Communities Foundation of Texas makes charitable grants that benefit all segments of society across North Texas and around the state. So one of our biggest programs right now is a statewide education reform initiative, where we take donations and we work hand in hand with the state, the Texas Education Agency, and the governor's office, and other private funders to improve public education across the state for low-income kids and first-generation kids, many of whom have never had the kinds of educational opportunities that other Americans have had. And through that program, more of those kids are graduating from high school and going on to successfully complete some kind of post-secondary education, and that prepares them for success in life and work. And that's the greatest thing that we can do as a foundation.
Well, rescue missions, because they work with the poor and powerless, are entities that are providing basic services. So the donations that come into rescue missions are providing food for people who have no meals in the last several hours or even several days in some cases. They provide overnight shelter, they provide job training, they provide addiction recovery classes, and in many of the situations it goes far beyond that.
Charitable deduction is not a loophole. As actually one of the congressmen described, it's actually a lifeline. And you can go to preservegiving.com and see a great little video that kind of explains the difference between the two. But the charitable deduction actually is a lifeline. Even one of the congressmen said that in his testimony, that it actually provides an opportunity for people who are in need, all sorts of kinds of need, to be rescued or have those needs met.
So the charitable deduction is not a loophole. The charitable deduction is an incentive and motivation for generosity. The charitable deduction is different because in return for the money that we give to charity, donors get nothing in return except for the satisfaction of knowing that they're doing something to improve their community. The charitable deduction is the one provision of the tax code that doesn't actually tie itself to a benefit that the taxpayer is actually going to receive themselves. It's a motivation to selfless behavior, a motivation to do more for our community and for others than what you do for yourself.
If the charitable deduction has changed, far and away it is the recipients who are going to bear the brunt of this. The recipients are the ones who are totally dependent on the services provided by the gifts that come in. Certainly there is some benefit for the people who are giving donations, but what we see is that those major gifts are the ones that really can change an organization that is helping those people who are the poorest among us.
If the charitable deduction is changed, I think both taxpayers and the beneficiaries of nonprofit work are going to bear the consequences. Taxpayers are going to bear some of the consequence because even though federal revenue might be raised a little bit, the federal revenue is not going to be devoted to filling the gap that will be created in a reduction in charitable giving to support the work of nonprofits. So the taxpayers will have to pick up some of the cost themselves by supporting programs that won't be receiving charitable donations anymore, and then also the people who benefit from charitable programs, the people who benefit from the work of nonprofit organizations, they will suffer the real penalties.
Both of them will be affected. The most important and most devastating effect will happen to those who are receiving the good things that charities do. But also, when people are charitable, they experience joy. And so that means that even the people that are allowed to be charitable will lose out because they won't experience that joy. You know, generosity is contagious. And when people are generous, they find that it helps their lives. And so both the giver and the recipient are negatively impacted if charitable giving is curtailed.
Well, and today in the hearings, Congressman Rangel and a couple of his colleagues said, what can we do? What should we do to help you out if you think this is what should happen with the charitable contributions? And there wasn't a whole lot of feedback. I think that question caught some folks off guard, but immediately what came to my mind is, Congress, you need to step forward and start saying how important it is for Americans to donate. I can't remember the last time I saw any members of Congress talk about the value of philanthropic activity and encouraging people to donate. We're hearing how terrible rich people are and they're being vilified, but what we need to have Congress do is say, we need you to invest in America through your donations. And for that matter, we need the President and the Vice President to say those things. So Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, step up and let's say how important philanthropic charities are.
There's certainly greater needs that are being experienced around the world, and we are becoming better and better at meeting those needs now. So there has never been a wiser time for people to be more charitable than today.